know there have been unusual occurrences all over the world.
These were taken by one of our spy satellites 3 days ago.
We need a way to locate and intercept that object.
What is it?
We were hoping you could tell us.
It's here.
That's bad.
That's really bad.
We have to destroy this thing.
You said you weren't the one trying to destroy our world. Then who is? Look, I'm trying to help you. But in order to do that, you have to tell me the truth. Please.
All that you know is at an end. It is known by many names. My people called it Galactus, the devourer of worlds. It must feed on energy to survive, both thermal and organic.
Could you stop the destroyer if you wanted to?
It is not I who draws the destroyer here. It is the one I serve.
Who do you serve?
Take joy in the last few hours you have left, for he is nearly here.
Yahshua.
In the morning light, take my hand, it'll be alright. Come on, save your soul tonight. Thunder all through the night. Promise to see
Yahshua.
in the morning light. Take my hand, it'll be alright. Come on, save your soul tonight.
It seems that the Bible, geology, and archaeology are all telling the same story. But skeptics, who would like to regard the Exodus as myth, might resist the idea that it actually happened. Because this would imply that God does indeed exist. Believers, on the other hand, may feel that a scientific explanation of the biblical story takes God out of the equation.
God does not suspend nature. He manipulates it.
A frog is a cold-blooded animal, and humans are warm-blooded, so our body burns energy or perspires to maintain the same 98.6 degrees. The cold-blooded frog's body temperature goes up and down with the temperature of its surroundings.
If a frog jumps into a pot of boiling water, it jumps right out again because it senses the danger. But the very same frog, if it jumps into a pot of lukewarm water that is slowly brought to a boil, will just sit there and it won't move. It'll just sit there even as the temperature continues to go up and up. It'll stay there until
Well, whatever happened to global warming, eh?
Stop. If you say whatever happened to global warming, whenever it's a bit cold or wet, This leaflet is being sent to every household in Britain. You have until September the 30th to learn the difference between climate, a long-term trend averaged over many years, and weather, which is what's going on outside the window right now. Make sure you study it.
It was just after 3 o'clock this morning. The house on a quiet residential street suddenly catching fire, then exploding into pieces, and about 50 other homes damaged.
By strong winds and dry weather, part of Haifa's skyline has been transformed by fire. The billowing smoke forcing the authorities to order tens of thousands of people to leave the city. Many homes have already been destroyed. The main highway between Israel's third biggest city and Tel Aviv was closed for some time, while teams tried to put out the flames as they gained ground on residential areas. The wildfires have struck an area close to Jerusalem, with some property already lost to the blaze. Homes have also been damaged in part of the occupied West Bank.
70 wildfires stretch across 8 southern states. Those fires have already charred more than 100,000 acres and forced evacuations. In North Carolina, flames are threatening at least 1,700 structures.
We have California wildfires in North Carolina.
From the flames, massive plumes of smoke. So much that dozens of counties are facing air quality advisories. A view from NASA shows the extent of the smoke. Some of it has started to drift into the metro Atlanta area. Dry conditions and severe drought that plague much of the region. Nearly 40% of the Southeast is facing drought, including 3/4 of Alabama and half the state of Georgia.
Conditions are terrible. It's so dry. Even just tossing a cigarette out in your front yard can cause a fire.
I've lived here all my life, 65 years. Never seen it like it.
Oh God, it was a beautiful cabin. Oh shit. Go, go, go. Go flat back here. Go, 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 go. Not one single warning on the news, and you're telling me nobody knew. Almost every cabin in Chalet Village is burning to the freaking ground.
The governor is calling it the largest forest fire in Tennessee in 100 years, responsible for at least 3 deaths.
Completely gone.
Scorching hundreds of homes and businesses. More than 14,000 forced to flee the resort towns of Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge.
We were dealing with 70-mile-per-hour winds. It just exploded.
Last month was the warmest September on record. 11 of the past 12 months have now broken records. Scientists say 2016 is almost certain to be the warmest year ever, breaking last year's record. This comes as it still feels like summer throughout much of the East Coast and Midwest, with record-breaking temperatures expected today in dozens of cities. In Dodge City, Kansas, the temperature reached 101 degrees Fahrenheit.
The situation is dire in the Midwest this morning. Deadly flooding and record-setting river levels are threatening homes in southern Missouri and Illinois.
hurricane of the Atlantic season. Yes, Hurricane Alex has formed just a bit ago on Thursday morning, and we are looking at this now headed for the Azores.
Flooding in the south, killing at least 6 people in Louisiana. More than 20,000 people rescued and neighborhoods underwater this morning. A large part of that state facing a flooding disaster.
Give me a knife, give me a knife. Watch this dramatic water rescue in Baton Rouge Saturday.
I'm drowning.
We're coming. Volunteers doing all they could as this woman's car filled with water. The rescuers freeing the woman just in time. This was a record event, even though it was an unnamed storm. It was historic levels of rivers and creeks rising, and I will tell you that we've not seen anything like this in the past. So dry here that the horses are all but hidden in clouds of dust. But this year was different. Rain has returned across big areas of the states of Queensland and New South Wales. In some places, this June was the wettest since the late 1800s.
NOAA scientist, they're young, 36 or so year old scientist, and he made this statement. Just wait till you start seeing these hurricanes forming over land. Whoa, hurricanes don't form. But we've since seen at least one hurricane over Oklahoma. It was about a year ago.
Rare tropical storms surprised millions in the southeastern United States. Tropical Storm Julia unexpectedly formed last night just off the Florida coast. It pounded areas around Jacksonville with heavy rain and winds. Some areas, in fact, could see up to a half a foot of rain.
It is rare for a tropical storm to form over land. The National Hurricane Center says it's never happened over the state of Florida until now. Tropical Storm Julia.
state of South Australia is tonight without power after a devastating and severe storm front.
Experts are calling this a cyclone-strength weather system. This is extraordinary and unprecedented.
It's the eerie image exploding across social media. A satellite photo of Hurricane Matthew. It sure does look like a smirking skull. Weather Channel senior meteorologist Stu Ostro was the first to post the image to Twitter. So is it real or photoshopped?
It is 100% legit, authentic. I didn't change anything on it, didn't change the contrast, didn't change one single pixel. That is the way it actually appeared.
Has not seen a storm like this in decades. The storm surge more than 4 feet, breaching dunes and flooding city streets from St. Augustine to Jacksonville.
The damage left by Matthew, catastrophic. Watch this wall of water blast right through the dunes, rushing into the city streets. In his aftermath, swallowing whole roads. This morning, over 1 million Floridians still left in the dark.
This storm has just broken all sorts of records, and incredible to be an October storm like this. Hard to get your head around what this storm has done across the Caribbean, across Haiti, across the Bahamas, and across Florida, and now the Carolinas and Georgia.
And look at these before and after photos. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, showing the devastation there.
This morning, the governor of North Carolina urging thousands more to evacuate, telling residents the sky may be blue, but the danger from Hurricane Matthew far from over.
Everything's underwater.
Up to 18 inches of rain fell in the eastern part of the state. That rain plus runoff from the rivers now rushing towards the coast.
fish floating in the water along Hingham Harbor as far as the eye could see.
I started noticing all these dead fish, and I've lived here 15 years and I've never seen that. And I look around and I notice there are thousands of dead fish.
4 fish kills reported this week in the Bay State.
Fiercest winter storms on record, stretching across 1,000 miles, dropping snow from Louisiana to New England, leaving at least 25 people dead.
The nation's largest city in the bullseye of a blizzard of epic proportions. Howling winds and driving snow creating near whiteout conditions, forcing an extraordinary travel ban. On track to become one of the top 5 snowstorms on record. Also ordered shut down commuter rail lines and parts of the subway, New York City's transportation lifeline. No flights coming in or going out of New York's 3 major airports. And across the storm-affected swath of the East Coast, more than 10,000 cancellations spanning Friday through Sunday.
80 million people impacted over 13 states. 31 died from the storm. More than 12,000 flights canceled.
Major cities under siege. New York and Philly paralyzed, and D.C. completely shut down. Schools staying closed this morning. Those cities digging out. Newark receiving 28 inches, Baltimore 29, and one town in West Virginia a whopping 42 inches of snow. Highways hazardous, thousands of accidents, cars and hundreds of people left stranded to fend for themselves.
December is approaching the record books for the most snowfall. The only year we've seen more snow is back more than 100 years ago in 1909, when Winnipeg had 101 centimeters of snow. That's more than 3 times the usual amount.
It's true that no single event makes a trend. But the fact is, the 12 hottest years on record have all come in the last 50. Heat waves, droughts, wildfires, floods, all are now more frequent and more intense. We can choose to believe that Superstorm Sandy and the most severe drought in decades and the worst wildfires some states have ever seen were all just a freak coincidence. Or we can choose to believe in the overwhelming judgment of science and act before it's too late.
Scream in terror, for the day of the Lord has arrived. The time for the Almighty to destroy. Every arm is paralyzed with fear. Every heart melts, and people are terrified. Pangs of anguish grip them like those of a woman in labor. They look helplessly at one another, their faces aflame with fear. For see, the day of the Lord is coming, the terrible day of his fury and fierce anger. The land will be made desolate, and all the sinners destroyed with it.
I watched as the Lamb opened the first of the 7 seals. Then I heard one of the 4 living creatures say in a voice like thunder,
Come and see! Then everyone, the kings of the earth, the rulers, the generals, the wealthy, the powerful, and every slave and free person, all hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. And they cried to the mountains and rocks,
Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come. Who can withstand? Everything they built will fall, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one. Goddamn America! Goddamn America! Goddamn America!
I saw the end of the world. I could feel all this death.
Yahshua.